For this project, I'd like to bring focus to the Islamic architecture that can be found in Mali and West Africa. Islam has a very rich history in Western Africa, which can be seen in the centuries-old mosques that can be found throughout the region. Many of these mosques, from the Great Mosque in Janneh to the Sankore and Djinguereber mosques in Timbuktu, have very distinctive features, and they are influenced by the Islamic traditions developed in the region. The Great Mosque of Janneh was built in 1907 as it currently exists, and is currently the largest mud brick building in the world. There had been a mosque that was constructed at the site in the 13th century, but by the 19th century it had fallen into disrepair, and it was demolished and reconstructed after the city of Janneh's captured in the late 19th century. Not long after that, in 1893, French forces seized control of the city, and that second mosque would soon be demolished. The original would soon be built at that site of the original a decade later. The Great Mosque was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988 and was one of the famous landmarks of Mali. The walls of the Great Mosque of Janneh are made of mud bricks that were heated by the sun and are covered with mud plaster. These walls are roughly 16 to 21 inches thick. The walls keep the building insulated during the day and keep the mosque warm during the colder nights. To avoid flooding, the Great Mosque is raised on a platform about 3 meters in height. Palm branches are bundled and placed within the walls to serve as a means of reducing cracking and to serve as scaffolding when repairs are made to the building. The fragile nature of the material that makes up the Great Mosque requires annual repairs to be made, and the city of Janneh has made these annual repairs into a community tradition. Plaster is prepared in pits in the days before a festival that kicks off the repairs. Traditionally, the beginning of the repairs is kicked off by a race to determine who will be the first in the community to deliver the plaster to the mosque. Afterwards, the men in the community will begin smearing the plaster on the walls, over the old plaster that had been worn down through natural processes. The Sankore Mosque in Timbuktu is one of the oldest centers of higher education in West Africa, and it had also served as a university in its history. The mosque was erected in the 1100s by the Berber peoples who settled in Mali. Over the centuries that it was built, the mosque has undergone numerous changes. Most prominently, Mansa Musa, the ruler of the Mali Empire during the 14th century, established several different improvements to the mosque after he had made a pilgrimage to Mecca. Mansa Musa expanded the mosque's staff with high-ranking scholars in an effort to make the Sankore Mosque one of the most renowned institutions of education in the Islamic world. Further improvements were made by Askia Daoud, who ruled the Songhai Empire during the late 16th century. In 1591, the mosque was invaded by the Moroccans, and in the aftermath of the invasion, the scholars were removed and important scholarly texts were destroyed. The Sankore Mosque today consists of numerous buildings made of clay, stone beams, and a wooden scaffold that's present to make repairs. It has a low ceiling and a notable pyramid-shaped tower with scaffolds in its construction. Because of its long history and archaic design, it's not known how much of the current design of the mosque is of the original, as it had been built in the 12th century. The Djinguereber Mosque was built in the 14th century under the reign of Mansa Musa, who ordered its construction. Mansa Musa sought to make the Djinguereber Mosque as a center of learning, just as he did with the Sankore Mosque. The Djinguereber Mosque is constructed out of mud brick. In order to construct the mosque, layers of wet soil, known as banco, or adobe, are rendered onto either limestone rocks or bricks made from banco. Straw is often mixed into the bricks as a form of binding. This method of construction often requires regular maintenance. The architect of the mosque takes influence from several sources, along with the traditional forms of architecture. The protruding beams of the building are influenced by European-style buttresses, while the conical minaret is a reminder of the Egyptian pyramids. All three of these mosques share some similarities. The, their location in Mali means that they share a lot of architectural traits unique to the region and the era in which they were created. For example, all of these mosques in some way involve the use of mud brick in their construction, which often requires regular maintenance. Both the Sankore Mosque and the Jingu Robert Mosque were heavily influenced by Mansa Musa. These mosques have been a staple of Malian Islamic culture for centuries, and their influence has had a significant impact on the region's cultures.